Hi, my name is Ashley and this is my first floss tube. I love to cross stitch, and by making this floss tube, I hope I'm able to connect with other stitchy people in this community to make some friends and have people to obsess over this hobby with. I'd like to give a little introduction, and I'll go through a small finish parade of the pieces I've finished so far this year and a WIP parade to show off what I'm currently working on. So a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Ashley. I'm 27 years old and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio with my fiance Jake and our puppy Frank. I'm sure he'll make plenty of appearances on this channel, but I'll definitely insert a picture of him here because, as you'll see, I have several pieces inspired by him. How I got into cross stitch was my grandma taught me when I was probably about 10 or so. I know I did a couple kits, but then I didn't touch it again for 15 plus years. I started back again in January of this year. Unfortunately, my grandma does have dementia now, so she can't cross stitch anymore, and I regret not getting back into this hobby sooner to get to love it alongside her. But she is the reason why I got back into it, because she made birth samplers for all of the kids in her family, and I have had a nephew in recent years. And when I realized that there would be nobody to make him a birth sampler, I knew that I wanted to do it and to continue on the tradition that she started. And you'll see that piece in a little bit. I regret not learning more from my grandma while I could, but I do feel I'm connecting with her in some way by cross-stitching, and so I really do love that. I watch a lot of floss tubes, so I thought it would be fun to give a little shout out to my current favorite floss tubers. This is not an exclusive list by any means, but these are the floss tubers that right now I am watching their videos as soon as they post. So first, Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches. I love the daily video series that she does. Like recently she finished up 31 days of Halloween cross stitching, and that was a lot of fun to tune into her videos every day and see the progress she was making. Kat from Cat and Lily, I have learned so much from her tutorials and tips and tricks videos, and I also really enjoy watching her normal floss tube videos and seeing the amazing pieces she's working on and seeing the progress she's made there. Catherine from Catherine's Stitching Chronicles. I really enjoy Catherine's channel. I feel like I can relate to her as we're similar in age, and I love the pieces she's working on and her use of colorful fabrics. I think they're amazing, so I love watching those. And Rachel from Lemonade Stitching. I found her a little more recently, but similarly, I love that we are close in age, and I feel like I can relate to her. And I really enjoy seeing the pieces she's working on and watching her progress as well. So I guess I'm ready to get into my finish parade. The first two pieces I've finished actually were gifts, so I don't have them with me, but I'll make sure I put in a picture of them here. So as I mentioned, the first piece I started with was a birth sampler for my nephew. This one I just found it on Amazon. It's In the Jungle by Designworks. I just used the kit fabric, which was a 14 count white Aida. I started this January 16th of this year and finished it on March 15th. I got it professionally framed, and now it's hanging in my nephew's bedroom, and I love to go over there and see it. I'm really proud of this piece. It got me hooked on this hobby. I picked that up, like I said, in January, and I have not stopped stitching since. The next piece I did then was a wedding sampler for my best friend Sarah. This is Personalized Wedding Cross Stitch Pattern Anniversary Sampler by Hoop Modern Stitch on Etsy. I stitched this on 14 count Charles Craft Iridescent Aida in blue. I think I got it from Michael's or maybe the DMC website. And the thread color I used was DMC 519. I started this February 20th of this year and finished it April 3rd. I got it professionally framed and she loved it. I think it meant a lot to her that I had spent several hours making something for her to celebrate her marriage. So the first project that I have to show you here in person is the Secret Garden Sale by the Historical Sampler Company. I used all of the kit materials for this, and I believe the fabric is a 16 count platinum Zweigart Aida. I started this on March 31st of this year and finished it on July 7th. So let's get this out. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. I obviously haven't fully finished it yet. I think I want to finish it as a pillow. I have no idea how to do that, but I think this would be a fun project to try it out on. It would be a pretty decent sized pillow, so I don't know, maybe that's not a good idea, but that's just how I envision this piece being finished. And maybe I'll try that out sometime in the future. All right, so the next one is actually the last finish I have to show you today. This was Birthday Botanical Sale by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I believe the called for fabric is what I used. I believe it was 16 count parchment Aida. I used all the called for DMC. I started it April 23rd of this year and finished it October 23rd of this year, so actually just recently. I did not keep up with either of the sales that I've just shown you. It took me a while to finish both of these, but it was a lot of fun and I think they both turned out beautifully. As I was newer when I started this especially, I did make a mistake of not leaving enough margin. So it might be fun to see how I'm gonna finish this. I think I'm gonna try to frame it myself. But we'll see. There's definitely not a lot of margin. So that was also the reason why this is the first piece I ever stitched in hand. As I got towards the top and realized that there was not a lot of margin left, it was really hard to fit this in a hoop and stitch on it. So I did learn how to stitch in hand because of this piece. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise, because now I do really like stitching in hand for certain pieces. So I think this turned out gorgeous. I love it. And we'll see if I can figure out how to fit this in a frame with barely any margin. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into my current WIPs. Starting out, I call this piece Frank, but because it looks just like my dog Frank. But it's actually called Thoughtful. The artwork is by Jamie Larson, by White Willow Stitching. I got this from dogshop.net. I was actually just searching for dachshund cross stitch pieces because I wanted to stitch something that looked like my Frank. And when I saw this cover image, I was like stopped dead in my tracks because it looks just like Frank. I was like, who took a picture of my dog and made a cross stitch piece out of it? It looks just like him. So I knew right away I had to stitch it. So I bought the pattern, and got started on it on March 17th of this year. Well, and here it is. I'm stitching this on 18 count Oatmeal Aida by Loops and Threads. I would definitely choose a different fabric knowing what I know now. Hopefully this is focusing pretty well. Knowing what I know now, I would definitely choose a different fabric, but I think it looks pretty good right now. This technically isn't a full coverage piece. I don't know if there's a word for it, but I've been calling it a full coverage motif. If you know a better word for a project like this where it's not really full coverage because the fabric will show around the image, but the whole image itself is full coverage in there. Yeah, if you know a better term for that, or if there like even is a term for that, please leave it in the comments because I would really like to know. But I've been using a method for it that I learned from a Flosstuber. Her channel name is Thread the Needle. She calls it the diagonal cross-country stitching with crossover traveling method. I've been finding that's been working really well. I initially started working this piece as just regular cross-country, I guess. I started up at the top, which I see is kind of getting cut off. I don't know if I'll be able to fix that, but I started it as just regular cross-country traveling. And eventually it just kind of got a little too hard to figure out where I was and to make a decision about like where to go next. But you can kind of see the leftovers of that down here before I started implementing a diagonal full coverage stitching method in here. So that's where I'm at now. I actually have a parked thread down here. I'm currently, I use Markup RXP so I can see like my progress and the amount of stitches. I'm currently at 47.25%, and I think it is just looking so good. Like every time I like take a step back and look at it, I'm like, this really looks like a picture. There's so much detail. I'm using all the called for DMC. There's a lot of colors in this one. This was definitely kind of a really big piece to start out with so early in my stitching journey, but I love it and I love working on it. And I'm so excited to get this finished and have basically just like a portrait of my dog hanging in our house, and I'll get to keep a little piece of him forever. So I really love this one. The next piece I have is just a small. It was my birthday start this year. I don't even exactly remember where I got this pattern from. I know it was a free pattern. I believe it's just called Free Pattern Butterfly by Michaela Lerner. I could be wrong. If I can find a link to it, I'll try to put it in the description down below. Like I said, this was my birthday start, so I started it August 15th of this year, and I thought this would be a good small piece to start learning or to try out using variegated thread. So this is stitched on 16 count ivory Aida, and I'm using DMC 48. So this has been a fun learning experience. I've learned that I don't really love using thread that is variegated as much as this one. You know, there's just things with using variegated thread like this that I've learned aren't my favorite. Like I can't use the loop start. I've had to like be really intentional with what thread I use, like what section of the thread I use to avoid having too drastic of color changes. Like I want it to flow very naturally. I'd love to get this one done as soon as possible. Like I said, I started in August. It's not that big. I just haven't been loving working on it. I mean, it's fine when I'm actually working on it, but the thought of like picking this piece up over some of my other pieces, it just never wins out. So it's kind of my goal to get this one done, if not by the end of November, but definitely by the end of the year. I think it's probably about 75% done, maybe more. Hopefully it's focusing on this and not my face. And hopefully the lighting's okay. But that's what I've been calling variegated butterfly. She's cute. It'd be cute to put this in a little frame, but again, I'm just hoping to get this one done soon. It's been a fun learning experience though. The next WIP I have to show is The Wonders of the James Webb Space Telescope by Climbing Goat Designs. I stitched this, or I am stitching this on a 16 count Starry Night Aida by Witch's Garden Crafts on Etsy. This is my first time using a hand-dyed mottled fabric, and I think it's just the most perfect bit of fabric for this piece. I'm using all the called for DMC, so I guess I'll show the piece. I'm using all the called for DMC, and this is where I'm at with it currently. I'm working on this hexagon right now. I first saw this piece because Kat from Catkin and Lily was working on it, and I love science. My degree is actually in chemistry. So when I saw this, and I was just so amazed by the science and technology that went into this telescope in general. And so when I saw that there was a whole cross stitch piece for it, I just thought that was the coolest thing. And so I decided to get it. I actually started it in, well, August 31st, but I did it because Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches was doing a Space September. I guess like she was doing it as one of her video series, and she was encouraging the people who watch her channel to do a Space September along with her. And so I knew this would just be the perfect piece to be able to participate in that. So I had a goal of stitching on this for 30 days in September, And I actually got the whole inner hexagon done at that point. And then I put it back down for a while, but I recently picked it back up and I've worked on it for a handful of days in this top hexagon. But I think this piece is just gorgeous. I can't wait to have it done. I just think it is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I love this one. The last piece I have to show today, I guess it's actually a finish, not a whip. But it is a piece that I'm making into an ornament. So it's kind of a work in progress in my mind because I actually know like what my next steps for it are. A Long and Short Year by Pinoy Stitch. And I have the whole pattern and I have actually all of the materials to stitch the whole thing, but I'm hoping to start that in January, and my goal would be to stitch one for each month, like in that month. So it might take me the whole year, and that's okay. But I just thought it would be the cutest idea to use the month of December little motif and make it into a Christmas ornament that looks just like my Frank. So hopefully you'll see me working on the full pattern in the next little bit. I'll get that started in January, and that's that. So this is actually on an 18 count opalescent white Zweigart Ada. Hope you can see it in the light here. I think he's so cute, and I think it'll look so cute on our Christmas tree once I get it finished up. That's everything I have to share today. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing and maybe liking this video and leaving me a comment. I would love to interact with you in the comments below and hopefully meet new stitchy friends. And I hope that you come back for future videos and see the progress I've made on the WIPs that I shared today. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way through to the end, it means a lot to me. And bye for now.